And welcome into the late shift. I hope everybody's tuning in on the Blues YouTube channel. We are live inside the Enterprise Center just outside the beer garden. Great to have you along with us once again here on the late shift. And you never know who we're going to find, who we're going to bring in to sit on the chair. Jordan Binnington, welcome into the show.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
How you feeling?
I feel, a little bit of mixed emotions. Obviously, it was a big night. Great presentation by the Blues and the organization. And the painting is really cool, and the picture also. And, it was surreal to be the one on the carpet and getting some gifts and stuff. But it was really cool, and having my mom and my wife and my son there was very special.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You held the baby, little Johnny, right, on the carpet. I love how your wife just handed him over to you. But you said something just a few minutes ago about how you've been watching these type of ceremonies for a long time. You've seen veteran players get honored, 1,000 games, whatever it is. But for you to be recognized and for the carpet to come out and you get presents and your teammates come and take a picture, that was a cool moment for you that you had never really been through as an NHL player.
100%. Yeah, it was just to be the one out there and looking around and to have that experience with my mom, like just taking in the crowd and a nice video. It was very special, and it was emotional before the game. And so I'm very thankful for that being put together and for my family and I to share that experience.
We met your mom, Lindsay. We had her on television. She was a great interview. She said this was kind of planned last minute. You called her and you said, I think you should come in town for it. How nice was it that she made it in?
Yeah, it was good. She was a little stressed at the beginning, and I said, Mom, you just got to get your passport. You got to go to the airport, be on time, and have something to wear on the carpet. That's all you have to do. And she took a breath, and I think she's happy she came. And she saw a good hockey game too. Exciting end-to-end action, but I'm excited to see her and then have a day with her and her grandson tomorrow. And
I told her you can't be nervous because you're Jordan Binnington's mom, so you just can't be nervous. And she said, yeah, that probably makes sense. Although she said after the Stanley Cup, everything's much easier to watch after you went through the Stanley Cup. So for you, do the games, I don't want to say become easier, but does it just become more routine the more games you play in the NHL?
Yeah, first of all, that's good she feels that way, and it's not stressful. But it's always a new chapter, and I'm always looking to evolve as a person and a player, and so just keeping that motivation and focus and clarity, I think that's my priority, and I don't think it gets less stressful. I think it's nice knowing you've won for sure, but you want to, see how high you can take this and see the sky's the limit, right? And
Yeah, you want to win again. Last year you told me that you had a little bit of a different outlook because you were going to have a baby. Now we see a little Johnny here, but you had turned 30. I don't want to say it was the new Jordan Binnington, but, the older you get, you start to reflect a little bit, don't you?
You got to adapt with the times, and I'm 30 now, I'm 31 now, and perspectives change, right? Just having a baby boy has been so special. It really just puts things in perspective and simplifies your life in a way, as well as makes things more difficult. But you understand why you're doing things and what your motivation is, and it's been so cool to just see him grow, evolve, learn things, and to see my wife as a mother, and those are special things in life, and I'm very grateful I'm experiencing it.
One of the coolest things was back when Joel Quenneville was the coach here, all these kids were running around the locker room all the time. Dougie Weight had kids, Keith Tkachuk obviously had kids who are now playing in the NHL. Is it kind of cool to have your son on the ice, you're in uniform, even though he's young, but for him to kind of participate and watch you play?
It's very cool. I was just proud of him for just being chill and taking it in. So, yeah, definitely. Hopefully more moments like that to come. But we definitely enjoyed the one today, and I'm happy. Like I said, my mom and wife were in town, and overall very thankful. And it was was great.
All right, Jordan Binnington reads a lot of books. What are you reading right now?
Um, the current book is Stay Sane in an Insane World. It's pretty good. I think the guy's name is Greg Harden, I believe. And at the same time, I got a little fiction book going on that my neighbor told me to read. It's pretty intense. So, yeah, I find books are just wisdom on paper, right? It's people who have experienced life and can share their story and how they do things. So it's something I incorporated probably when I was 23. I started, and yeah, just got to find the time, you know?
Yeah, no, I love that, which is difficult to do. What would you be doing if you weren't playing hockey? Or are you one of these guys who just grew up, everything was hockey, and there was no plan B for Jordan Binnington?
Yeah, I don't know what I would be doing. I'm enjoying this, but I just think it would come together, and as long as you're focusing on what you can control and in the current moment, I think things will fall into place. Whatever visions you have of what you want to do or what you see in the future, and just commit towards it. And so I just believe that it will come together, you know?
Yeah, your story is so interesting because just a handful of years ago, you didn't even know if you were going to play in the NHL. You were ready to play. Billy Armstrong told a story. I don't know if you even wanted the story being told about how you sent him a text basically being like, hey, like, I'm ready to play. Let's get this going. What did you text him? Fill us in. Tell us your version of the story.
Yeah, I saw that video. I don't mind at all. I think it's a cool story, and my relationship with Bill is strong, and we still keep in touch. And yeah, so years prior, probably 2 or 3 years prior, he asked me when I was in Chicago Wolves if I thought I was ready to play in the NHL, and you know, I wasn't mature enough at the time to realize what that meant, how big of a deal, how hard it is to play in this league. And I just replied saying yeah, because I think that's what he would want to hear. But in hindsight, I realized that I was not, and I remember it was after a shootout in San Antonio, and before the shootout, I said if I was kind of building some momentum with myself, and I understood myself more, and I said if I win this shootout, I'm going to go home and I'm going to text Bill Armstrong exactly that, and I said something along the lines of, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but you asked me a couple years back if I was ready to play in the NHL, and I just want to let you know I'm ready. And I think it was the next day I got a call from Doug Armstrong. I was enjoying a nice McAllister sandwich for lunch, and I was with 2 other teammates, and I remember my phone lit up on the table and said Doug Armstrong, and I think I let it go to voicemail. I needed to gather myself, so then I called him right back. Stepped outside, called him right back, and yeah, and then came up, and a lot of stuff happened along the way to get that first start too. And but it's you know, that's the journey, and I think you don't realize it in the moment, but those are the special times that you really look back on, and they're really fun. Yeah.
That's your first start ever against Philadelphia, who you played against tonight. So you have incredible numbers against the Flyers, but what was your mindset going into this game, your first ever NHL game?
Man, I don't even know. Just play. At that point in my career, I think I was building momentum, like I said, and I think just play free and compete was the mantra back then for me. So I would say that was the mindset, and you know, it was a lot of fun, and it was just such a clean game, and being in the show, and just it was a lot of fun.
You know what's interesting is that, and I found a pregame report that I did when you first got called up. So this is the first game after Doug Armstrong called you and said, hey, we're bringing you up. Because Chad Johnson got placed on waivers, Ryan Miller got hurt with Anaheim, which opened up the door for Chad Johnson, and Anaheim claimed Johnson, and you get the call. But you didn't play for a couple weeks, right? I mean, you got called up, and you didn't get a start until January. So what was your mindset even then between the time that you got called up and you actually got a start to play?
Practice were my games to a certain extent. I think just, you know, try and make an impression there. I think my first practice actually was the one where Bortuzzo and Sanford fought right in front of my crease, and I remember was just, do I get in there? And then I was like, you know what, I feel like maybe the team needs us right now. And then guys hopped in right away, so it wasn't much time to think. But it was intense. It was the conversations with the guys I remember were lower. You know, it was guys were worried about getting sent down and just complaining, and it wasn't good energy. And I think just to see that compared to how we were on the final stretch and then getting into playoffs and the camaraderie and the tightness of the group, it was really cool to see that develop behind the scenes with a lot of guys.
You know, since your first game, because I looked it up today, I'm curious where you ranked among NHL goaltenders in wins since your first ever start in the NHL, and your top 5 with Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky, and obviously Winnipeg's goaltender, UC Saros, I think maybe in there too. So maintaining that consistency, how hard is that as a goalie? Because that's important, right?
Yeah, it's a hard league, and I think it's, I realized, I think from my long time in the minors and understanding how hard it is to get here, that, you know, making it here is not the hardest part. It's staying here and staying that competitive. And yeah, so I think it goes back to just focusing on what you can control, but it is a tough league, and you really got to bring it every day and have your recovery time, and you recharge, and you have to take care of yourself. And yeah.
How often do you think about hockey? You get away from it, like tonight, you were unbelievable in the game. You guys lost the game. Are you going to go home and watch your saves, or are you going to turn the page and just focus on the next day?
It depends on the night and how I'm feeling or how the stretch of games is. But tonight, I think I'll just go hang out with my mom and my wife. And yeah, but there are times where you go back and you do watch the clips, and you know, I'm definitely going to be thinking about that overtime winner laying in bed. I think that it's frustrating. You know, you want to close that one out. So, but that's part of it, and I've, you know, done it numerous times. So I'll be all right, and just reset and use that as motivation for practice tomorrow, and, you know, in the gym, whatever you can use it for.
All right, listen, you know when you make a great save, and it's got to feel good. And I talked to you about it a little while ago, but the save you made at the end of the second period on Couturier, how did you track this specific save? Walk us through it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, and you kind of just got to dive back and hope for the best. It's a desperation play, right? I couldn't really catch my edge, and then you just use your stretch out, and man, that doesn't happen that often. So it was I'll take it.
What's your favorite save you ever made?
That's up there. I thought I saved the one on their second goal tonight with the Dominic Hasek kind of spin around.
I thought you did too. Did that hit the post?
I think it hit someone told me it hit the post, but yeah, that would have been one of my favorite. But anytime you throw like a pad stack, or you just commit to a freestyle play, you know, I would say those are my favorite.
Yeah, you made some incredible ones in Game 7, first period, or some unbelievable saves too. Obviously the stakes were a little higher, but that was unbelievable. Brought everybody onto their feet. The overtime goal, I don't want to like dwell on that, but will that one stay with you for a little while? Because you looked like you tracked it, and I could tell with your reaction how mad you were that got past you.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Like I said, I think it's just, you know, what could have been, and I played hard, so you know, you can't always focus on the outcome. You got to take away us coming back in the game, tying it late, tying in the third, tying it late in the third, and just that energy we had on the bench, and was so cool to be a part of, and like that's what it's about. So it's really fun to feel that, and we hopefully can use this momentum moving forward and just enjoy it.
All right, 152 wins. And I had asked you about this before, because your agent, Michael Ute, obviously being the all-time franchise wins leader up until a few days ago. And you never really wanted to talk about it because you wanted to wait. But when did you start thinking about the opportunity or the chances of breaking his record?
Probably towards the end of last year, when I started hearing more about it, and it was being talked about more. But Man, it's just so funny how things work out. Just Mike being my agent and a mentor for over 15 years, I would say, and just the little wisdom and pointers he's given me. And it's funny watching his game in action, but you can tell it's just he has a strong mind and a strong mindset. And even when I was in the minors, we'd still meet once a year, and we'd take the time out of his schedule. So it's pretty special that it was him, and we've had some good banter with it. And obviously, he's a St. Louis legend and great goaltender in the NHL and competitor. So it's fun to be able to have that close of a connection and contact with him.
How'd you meet Mike? Who made the introduction?
I think a guy named Blake Goulet, my buddy's dad, actually, who recruits for the Octagon agency, kind of set it up, and then I'm sure they had conversation with my dad, and I remember I met him after one of the games, and I was like, this guy's cool. He kind of looks like me. I'd like to be, that stylish and put together at his age. So, yeah.
He is put together. Mike is very stylish.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight. He's got a family obligation, but obviously he sent you a message. Who else did you hear from? We saw the messages from Mike and Curtis Joseph and some other Blues legends. Anybody out of the blue send you a text? Former teammates?
Jake Allen, and we just saw him last game, so always keep in contact with him. John Hamm, St. Louis, legend and fan, and trying to think. Honestly, it's been a really nice week with messages and just my buddies and family just sharing their excitement, and it really puts it in perspective. It reminds you like why you work so hard for just small moments like this, and everyone's been really nice, and I'm very grateful for the kind messages.
I want to ask you about the late Mark Reeds, because he's a name that's familiar to a lot of Blues fans. Played here for the Blues back in the 1980s, and we lost Mike a handful of years ago. But Mark Reeds, sorry, and I remember him telling me about the 16-year-old goaltender that was leading the Owen Sound attack to the OHL finals at the time, and then you guys ended up winning the OHL championship. And he was talking about this goaltender, and then the Blues drafted you a few months later. But what did he mean to your career and playing for him?
Yeah, he was a really good coach. Very well liked, kind of goofy. I remember he would always put a hockey sock upside down on his head during practice and just skate around randomly. A cool moment we had, I would say, is that playoff run where we won we played Mississauga, but the first round of the playoffs, I got the first 2 wins and the last 2 wins of the playoffs, and I was playing a bit aggressive and swinging my stick and playing a little dangerous. And after the first 4 games, we were 2-2. Series was tied 2-2, and he pulled me in before practice, and he sat me down and he said, "Hey, Benner, we're going to play the other goalie next game." And I was taken back, and obviously it was my draft year, and I was like, I was just going to look, how this going to go. And I started crying in the coach's office, and he stood up and he hugged me, and it was like he's like, "I know this is hard, but you got to keep working and stay with it." And then they went out for practice, and I had a second in my room to gather, in the dressing room to gather myself. And then, I was out of the net, and I didn't start playing until the last 2 games of the playoffs. And I was practicing, and I practiced hard, and it worked out. I got to go back in and close it out, and then had a good Memorial Cup. So in hindsight, that really, I learned a lot from a moment like that and a lesson like that, and I feel like I responded well, and that's just one of the moments along the way that you're gonna get up or you're gonna stay down, and I think that he instilled a little bit of positivity and hope, and just kind of activated my competitor inside, and so really nice family, and got a lot of love for Reedsy. He's a great human being.
Had you always handled pressure well? And people don't realize teenagers, especially goaltenders, I mean, there's so much stress and pressure that comes with, you mentioned being in your draft year, and you're thinking about the NHL draft, everything that comes with that. How have you always been able to kind of control the pressure, or is it something you've learned how to deal with over the years?
I would say it's an ongoing thing, and that's where you take to reading or learning about former athletes or current athletes who find a way to, like Novak Djokovic, for example, he talks about just resetting. Your mind's going to wander, and it's bringing it back to that main focus, present moment. And Roger Federer, who's they after his career they looked up how many points he won and lost in his career, and I think he was only like 53% of points won, right? So it's going to be an ongoing battle, but you just want to come out on top, and over time, keep your head down and look up and enjoy the moments like this past week, but then get back to work and yeah.
I like that teal shirt you had on for your draft. That it showed it was a teal dress shirt, which you don't see too many of those.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Is it mint? What is that?
You know how hard I worked on that hair too? I remember I had to wear a winter hat just to tame it, and for 2 days I was thinking about that, and then I'm getting, made fun of online for my flow. But yeah, I would say that's a nice blue. Try to enhance the eyes.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job with that.
Age.
That's
Yeah.
a good look. Davey Alexander, he doesn't get a whole lot of talk. We don't talk about him enough. But he's a goaltending coach. Like, everyone focuses on the head coach, Jim Montgomery, now obviously leading the team. But how much are you talking to Davey, your goaltending coach? How much is a goalie and a goaltending coach? How often do you guys talk?
Well, we talk every day. We're at the rink together.
Yeah.
So I see him every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the conversations we have are just to seeing the natural progression of our relationship, and him just being patient with me, and I maybe have challenged him at times. He's challenged me at times. I think that's healthy, and he really is a master, pulling the strings of a lot of things with the team, forwards to defense, goaltending, and I'm very fortunate that our paths have crossed, and it's been a lot of fun. So it's ongoing,
Yeah. No, I want to give him a shout out. Did you play other sports growing up?
I played lacrosse.
Can I guess what you played?
Okay.
Are you a tennis player?
I wish. I am now.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what it is. Maybe that's why I thought that. You're taking tennis lessons now.
Well, surprised you figured that out after I just named 2 tennis players and their mindsets. It's pretty good.
So you like tennis
Yeah, I've taken a liking to tennis.
and martial arts.
Yeah.
What do you do in martial arts wise?
Well, the Tai Chi was the big thing this summer.
Yeah.
And that one I think I'm going to be doing into the old ages. And then boxing, actually. My man Heath at St. Louis Boxing Club, it was a lot of fun training with him this summer, being here, and that was a lot of fun. You work on your hand-eye, you're getting out some whatever, that men and women have to get out sometimes of anything that's on your mind, and I think it's been fun for me to add in those new games and tennis. I played Pareko 6 times this summer, and I'm 0-6. He's just good at everything.
He covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, but he plays, I kind of get in his head a little bit, just the way he plays. He just stands in the back and just chips it back over the net, and I'm doing all the work. I'm like, you're not getting better, you're just playing defense,
Yeah.
But it's part of it, and I got to find a way to beat him, and I will.
So you think he's your biggest competition?
Well, he's pretty much the only guy that played, so.
Is he the best athlete on the team?
I mean, I think so. I think he doesn't even play golf, and he'll go shoot like 77.
Really?
He's just like, he's too good.
What are you shooting?
I'm like a low 90s.
Like, do you like golf? Like, you play every day?
No. I don't. That's
Could
probably
you
my
ever
problem.
do that?
Well, I lived in the city for a lot of years in the summer, so I didn't really get out to golf courses. But now I joined a club back home, and it's a thing I'm focusing on for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned you're going to do Tai Chi until you're old. I feel like you were the youngest person in your Tai Chi class. Am I right about that?
I was 100% the youngest person in the Tai Chi class.
And how did that help you? How does that translate to hockey?
Honestly, I didn't go deep enough with it, but I could see how the flow of it and just the patience and the energy movement, I think, can benefit. Actually, the man over there is the one who introduced me to the Tai Chi master in a way, and it's funny he's here and we're talking about it.
Yeah. You probably don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, because when I did my research, since you've come into the league, you do lead all NHL goaltenders in penalty minutes. But I feel like you've calmed down. And is this by design, or is it just circumstance? Help us understand. Like, is this a new Binner, or is
No,
just...
It's always in me. I think my whole goaltending life, and I think there's a time and a place, and I think just knowing that focusing on mastering my craft and winning hockey games and playing hard for the boys and for the team, for the city, and I know that, call it dog, is in me, and if it, if I ever something happens to my teammate, like I'm in there, and at least I'm saying that, but I do believe I would stand up in there. So it's an emotional game, and I think sometimes momentum can be changed with some physical activity or whatever, but I also realize that the referees and George Peros giving out the fines and the suspensions, like they're not in my head. They don't know what I'm thinking, and I really don't have bad intentions. I don't think I'm a dirty player, but I think situational. I'm kind of more of moving energy and gaining momentum for our team, and but I realize that no one knows that except me in my head. So it's probably better to just focus on doing my job and playing, enjoying that.
What was the turning point, or was there not one?
Not really. Like, I feel I'm in control of what happens, and I believe I always have been. So it's just there hasn't been. We don't. Right now we're focusing on winning hockey games, and then I think once we get that winning feeling back and we're building, I think that kind of happens because everything's so intense and emotional, and we're playing hard for each other, and we're having each other's backs, and maybe that's where it comes up. Whereas when we're losing, it's more of it's a different look, and it's perceived differently, and so I don't know. I don't really care to do it anymore, and I'm enjoying the mastering the craft side of life, and yeah.
I like that answer. Although I can't believe I didn't follow it up. Your first practice was when Samford and Bortuzzo fought.
Yeah,
Were you like, what is going on?
No, I was like, I think this is probably good.
Turning point for the team.
Yeah, I think it definitely was. Like, sometimes you need, like I'm saying in the game, sometimes you need something to happen to change the wind in the sails. Like tonight, I felt like it was, we didn't really have much energy in the first half of the game, and I think, once we get a couple big hits, or we get a couple chances, or a couple saves, then that's where the energy starts coming our way, and we build that. And I think sometimes that's a good play in a game, and I think there's guys in the league that do that and know that, and that's my perspective.
I was talking to associate head coach, not assistant head coach, associate head coach Steve Ott between second and third period, because sometimes we see how a big hit or a fight can change the momentum of a game. That save you made on Couturier, like, that's a 2-0 game if that goes in. All the coaches were just closing their eyes. They thought for sure that was going to go in. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Exactly. Like, those are moments in sports where, those are difference makers or energy shifters, change the wind in the sails, and, that's, yeah, exactly.
Are you a goal setter? Like, what's next? You're at 152. You're the all-time leader in Blues history, but you're still early in your prime. I think you've got so much hockey left in your career. You're going to play as long as you want to play. So what's What's on the goal sheet for a guy like Jordan Binnington? What do you still want to accomplish?
Well, thank you. And I don't know. I'm not necessarily a goal setter. I definitely have visions that I want to experience, and that's just as simple as winning Stanley Cups or trophies. And I think just most of them have to do with playing competitive hockey and challenging myself and continuing to evolve and having my family with me and having good relationships with teammates and coaches, and it all has to do with that. So I would say that would be my answer.
Yeah, great answer.
Thanks.
You're a great interview now because he used to be hard to interview. His first year, I would say, Jordan, you're making me look like an idiot when I interview you.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's good. I'm challenging you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you felt like
You've made me better.
I mean, you said it. I don't know. I think you're doing well. You're doing well. It's fun talking to you, and it's fun seeing you bop around the room and stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry if I made that uncomfortable for you, but I think it's kind of fun, and now you know me enough, and I knew that we would know each other enough to know my sense of humor, and yeah.
Well, it's been great watching you, and I know that was emotional for you because I saw it in the post-game interview you did with the media today. Having your son on the ice, your mom, your wife, those are the cool moments, man, you'll never forget. So congratulations. On the record's great, but everything else you brought to the city of St. Louis, the organization, man, the fans love you, and you've got so much more to give. So looking forward to seeing how the rest of the story plays out. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Jordan Binnington. Always great to talk to Benner here on the Late Shift. We're live outside the beer garden at the Enterprise Center with number 50. I didn't even ask you why you chose that number. We'll do that next time. The all-time leader in wins in the history of the Blues, Jordan Binnington, on this edition of the Late Shift. Have a great night, everybody.